really making history. Absolutely phenomenal.
And Ace is the champion of the Intel Extreme Masters World Finals.
Storm's still not quite done. MC is going to take this fight, though. 3 seconds left.
Last 2 rounds of match, it's got to start it well for ESC.
And this is a massive move for Zez, but he's not content with just a Nexus kill. He wants to win.
And it's all done. And Strollin's winning.
Unbelievable Rogue with a 4-0 victory over Classic.
And they did it again in the grand finals. It's Dolan!
Give it up for your Intel Extreme Masters World Champion!
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to our second server qualifier of the tournament of the IEM Katowice 2024 European Open Server Qualifier. I'm of course host Live VIP, and with me I'm joined this time by my lovely plushies before me, and oh boy, here we go. The pressure is on. A couple of days ago, yesterday and the day before, for the past 2 days, we have been covering the Asia server qualifiers, and we have our first players making it into IEM Katowice. Tonight is the first European qualifier. The open qualifier tomorrow is the closed. We're here to determine who else makes it through to IEM Katowice, who gets that plane ticket, who can make it to that main event. And tonight, we have some returning players, which is what we assumed would happen. Basically, this is a server qualifier. This is not region locked, and some of the players that did not make it through the Asia Open qualifiers are here tonight in the European Open qualifiers. We have some big names. I'm talking Classic, I'm talking DRG, Creator, Gumiho. Some of the big Korean names are here, intermix alongside the Europeans, of course, and even some Americans as well. So it's not going to be easy. It is not going to be easy. It is going to be a brutal bracket, and it is single elimination. Double elimination comes by the way of the closed qualifier. That's going to be tomorrow, but for today, it's all single elim, one and done, and top 8 will advance on. Top 8 will make it into the closed qualifier, which will be taking place tomorrow. So yeah, it's going to get quite intense, and we already have our first matchup, as you can see before you here. We're going to be getting into something a little bit different, something a little bit special. Dolan versus Ashbringer. I'm ready for it. I am ready for it here, as I'm just letting the players know that we are, of course, getting ready. It is going to be a TvP. Dolan, of course, being one of our own, one of the CranKy Ducklings, up against Ashbringer, Ashbringer cousin. Oh, it's so fitting. it's so fitting, Bobby, so fitting. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves. The bracket, it's big, it's huge, it's massive. I believe there's a round of 124, sorry, a round of 128. A lot of players are getting involved, and again, a big reason for this is because all the regions are colliding. We have the Europeans, we have the Koreans, we have some Chinese players, and we even have some Americans as well, as we have one here before you. I did see Dolan. We're going to be following Dolan for now throughout the course of this bracket. We may even be able to cover like different portions of the bracket as well, depending on how fast or how slow this section is. And yeah, there's a lot to go over, and we'll go over the bracket ourselves, you know, in a moment, in a moment's time, as we dive into this TvP. Once we wrap up the series, we can have a moment to actually go over the bracket and go over some of those other matches that are ongoing. It's big, it's huge, a lot of games going on, a lot of games, and here we go. We're diving into game number 1 of this best of 3 series, and spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have the Teal Protoss player representing Team StarCom. It is Ashbringer. Not Ashbringer. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Terran player. He's one of our own. He is one of the CranKy Ducklings. It is Dolan. There we go. I see in the chat is Dolan from Europe. As I mentioned before, this is an open server qualifier. You can be from anywhere in the world, and you can compete in these qualifiers. Doesn't matter where you are from the Americas, from Korea, from Southeast Asia, Oceania, from the rest of Asia, or even the Americas. Tis open to all. Which is why we saw a couple of European players compete in the Asia server qualifiers as well. They didn't have too much success, but they did compete nonetheless. I think the highlight of that when it came to the foreigners trying to make it through the Asia server qualifiers was Showtime. If you remember, Showtime went to the ace match against SOS. Showtime unfortunately didn't make it into the close qualifiers, but he came close. He did come close. It's all good. He will have another chance here in the European qualifiers. We'll have another chance. Meanwhile, for now, we do have a gate expand standard opener, very economic opener here from Ashbringer. Meanwhile, across the map, Dolan, everything is in the main base. Very important to take note of. Dolan is a very aggressive and a very creative player in his own right. And he's going to be going for a double gas opener, is going to be going straight for that factory. He has been known for going for proxy shenanigans and hyper-aggressive styles. For now, everything is looking normal, but I'm sure throughout this series it's going to be anything but normal. Like Dolan, he can be a very quirky player, very difficult to read. We'll see how aggressive he's going to be. I don't expect to see a normal standard game in a TvP, not from Dolan. I expect to see some 1-base shenanigans, some 2-base shenanigans as well, as he's going for a Reaper first into that reactor. Is going to be patrolling here on the high ground. The probe is going to be coming back in. The Reaper is in position, and we will shut that probe down. Do we get a scout? We do not. We do not get up the ramp. We do not see the CC on the high ground. As Dolan is expanding, he is not going all in. But again, Ashbringer doesn't know that. The question becomes, is he aware of Dolan? Is he aware of his reputation? We do have a safety shield battery in the main base. Reaper is going to be getting across the map. We do have a sentry here on the low ground. It is a sentry-based opener. I think this is very smart from Ashbringer, as Reaper does slip in. It's again going to be disrupting some of these workers. The shield battery is going to be able to hold on, and the Reaper is not going to get shot down. Barely does escape. But again, this is the power of the sentry opener in this matchup, is you get the hallucination. The scout is zooming across the map, and we're going to be able to get a read on what is going on. And again, I do think this is a really smart way to play against Dolan. As we can see, it is going to be a bit of a 2-on-1 here. That's the second Rax on the way, but the Cyclone's in position. We do get the lock on, and we do shut down the hallucination. Quickly checking, what did we see? We saw the Rax, the factory, not much else. We didn't see the gases, we didn't see the CC on the high ground, or the second Rax. So some incomplete information here from Ashbringer. Dolan doing a great job at shutting down the hallucination. And we already have our first tank on the way. We're not amassing Cyclones. Cyclones have their place, and we have seen quite a lot of them in the new patch, especially in this matchup, but no, we're building up the tank count, we're building up the bio count as well. It is not just a 2-on-1, it's going to be a 3-1-1 setup that is 3 Raxes. So we are delaying the starport in favor of additional Raxes. That means that we're going to be building up a very hefty bio count, going to be hitting a timing of stim. We already have the second tank on the way. I believe we're going to be pushing with 3 tanks, maybe 4. It's going to be a terrifying attack on the way here from Dolan, and he's working on it. Again, Ashbringer for the time being is not aware. I do appreciate this though. He's going for a Twilight Council opener. Very fast forward as well. It's coming back to me. I remember this is something very unique to Ashbringer. We've casted him many times in OSC King of the Hill, but it's been a while since I've had the luxury of casting Ashbringer. But yeah, this is something very unique to him. When we rush into +1, we're getting to charge a very gateway heavy composition, a very upgrade focused, and yeah, we're gonna have quite a lot of Zealots to deal with this. And hey, that could be a really good way to shut down something like a tank push. Hallucination Scout is going to be coming back in, and this time we're going to see everything. We're going to see the factory, all 3 Raxes, and the mining natural as well. That is enough of a tell. I mean, we see everything that there is to be seen, and Ashbringer can start getting ready. He's now aware that Dolan should be going for a big tank push across the map. There's that 3rd tank coming out before going for the add-on swap, and Ashbringer is going to be preparing. There it is. We're going to be warping in a couple of extra sentries. Immortal production has commenced. Now, because Dolan got scattered, I wonder how he reacts. He did throw down an eBay for +1, so he's going to be working on some upgrades, but okay, we're still going to be pushing out, so we're still getting ready to move out nonetheless. And we'll see if this is going to be enough. Again, tanks are not ideal against charged lots. You can close the distance, you can get on top of them, but a lot of this is going to come down to the overall supplies here. Immortals also will help when it comes to busting through those tanks. It's going to be the job of these Marines to try to keep them alive. Bearing in mind that we're not pulling the boys. There it is, +1 attack is on the way. And now we get the add-on swap to get into those medevacs. Charge is complete. Dolan trying to find a way, and he is spotted by the hallucination. Ashbringer sees, Ashbringer knows. And he's even coming in for a surround as well, coming in from both angles. Oof. Is going to get spotted though. Big tank shot's going to be going off. We're committing. We're diving on the arm. We're gonna try to kite our heart out here. Pulling back. Good target firing overall. The sentries do go down. We kite against the zealots. And the zealots will fall, but they take down the tanks, and that was the backbone of this army. The tank count gets reset, and Dolan has to get the hell out of here. So, a solid defense. Looking at the units lost tab, sure, we did lose a lot of supply. That was a lot of minerals lost for Ashbringer, but it was only zealots. Only minerals, really. I mean, the sentries went down as well, but we maintained our immortal count. So Ashbringer survives, and Dolan has to pivot away and get into a third CC. Let's go. The third base is on the way from Dolan. And again, it did feel like early on he was aware that this push would not kill his opponent. That's why he was working on at least the eBay upgrades. Behind this, Ashbringer getting towards his third base. Taking his third on location. Now that zealot count is significantly smaller than it once was, so Dolan has potential with this attack. He also has a little bit more sustainability with those medevacs. He can push forward, he can try to break in. He's going to be arriving with a 1 tank. A couple of reinforcements are on the way. And can we make some magic happen here? The tank, it does seize. There is no shield battery. There is no overcharge so far. Kiting well against those zealots. Yeah, the shields are going to be popped. And we do cancel the third base. So far, so good here from Dolan. Meanwhile, across the map, ooh, a War Prism going straight for the main base. Uh-oh. We're going for a big Zealot Warp in. This is going to be forcing the all-in. I imagine it will. At the same time, though, Dolan, he's edging ever closer. Getting on top of the army. Once again, big tank shot's going to be going off. But here we go. The Zealots, they get into the main. SCVs are going down. Yeah, the boys, they're being pulled away. Reinforcements are going back home to try to clean this up. But Dolan, we got to keep pushing. Yeah, overcharge was popped a little bit prematurely. Shield battery runs out. The Zealots are going to go down as well. Yeah, the boys, they have to be pulled. But against all these Marines, I don't think there's enough. The tank, no shot. It survives. The tank does not get picked off. Extra volleys go off as well. The Archon falls, but it looks like Ashbringer is going to be able to hold on. Meanwhile, across the map, Zealots, they continue to be warped in. They're getting into the main base. Dolan has to retreat. But the Zealot run-by hasn't done much here. Dolan is still up in workers. We still have mules. Most of the SCVs were saved. Maybe I spoke too soon. There's a couple of SCVs are going to be going down here against the Prism. Prism does survive. But Dolan, he has the better economy. He's on 3 CC. Ashbringer is knocked down to 2 bases. And suddenly the turns have tabled. Suddenly Ashbringer is the player that's all in. He's down a base. He's down in the economy. He needs to make something happen here. He needs to at least deny the third here and now. We're warping in more Archons, more Zealots. Good tank positioning here on the high ground. Dolan, I'm sure he's aware of how ahead he is, and he knows all he has to do is survive. Of course, he has to be wary of that War Prism. We could still go for a big warp in into the main base. Dolan is aware of that. Oh, the army, though, here at the natural, this tank on the low ground is quite exposed. Here we go, Dolan. Now spots the army. The first tank is, oh my god, not going to go down. Ashbringer pulling back here. He sees the army. He wants none of it. But there's no other option. Like, the problem is, like, what are we coming back to? There's no other base. There is no third. Ashbringer going to be pivoting away. Going into the main. No, there's Vikings. Vikings are in position. The Prism is going to go down. Ay, ay, ay. We get the recall. We're going to save the Archons at least. And we turn back around. And again, the problem here is that what do we really have? Now we start a third base. Oof, a very late third here from Ashbringer. Meanwhile, Dolan is snowballing out of control. We have Ghosts, we have Vikings, EMPs. The tank count is looking quite terrifying once again. And Dolan is going for a massive push. Now, to be fair, if he gets caught unsieged, if he misses the EMPs, then Ashbringer can maybe take a fight, but there is a lot working against him. There we go, the tanks, they siege once again. Army's going to be engaging. Good EMP on the Immortals. On some of the rest of the units as well. We're going to try to engage. We do get on top of the tanks at least. And Ashbringer, he does force this back. The EMP is not quite connecting with all the Archons, and Ashbringer, he does hold. Whew. Was fortunate that one of those tanks was unsieged. And Ashbringer, he's going to be chasing this all the way back home as well. And what did he really lose there? He kept most of his Archons alive. It's going to be a tank on the high ground. Once again, it's exposed. Tank is going to be going down. We'll put a big EMP on those sentries, and it looks like Dolan, he should be able to collapse on this army. The Vikings land. The Archons are going down. There's nothing to protect the Immortals. No. And that is going to be the final units of Ashbringer being cleaned up here. 4th CC gets thrown down. And Ashbringer, what does he have left? He has a handful of gateway units. He has 1 Archon. A soon-to-be Immortal. But no splash damage, no Storm, no Colossus, no Disruptors. Archons are his best bet, and it looks like Dolan, he's weathered the storm. He's up to 71 workers. He's got a pretty damn good army supply as well. He's moving out, and this could potentially be the final push of the game. I mean, Ashbringer back at home, there's no shield battery, there's no overcharge here at his 3rd. There is a shield battery at his natural, so he could try to maybe kite back to the natural to help support himself. Dolan is checking for a 4th, scans, sees the saturation. We do have a couple of extra weapons of Zealots though. Ashbringer, he can take a fight. 100%. There is only 1 tank with this. Dolan, he sees the army. With good EMPs though, Dolan, he can just chew through this. There's the stim. There's the stim here on the army. Ashbringer, he has to commit. There's no turning back. Big EMPs here on the Archons. Oh my god. Not so much on the Zealots though. The Zealots, they're breaking through. Good target firing on the Archons. Dolan turning back around, arriving with another reinforcing tank. Still has, I think, 1 EMP left in the chamber. Well, the ghosts are getting picked off though. Pretty big trades here from Ashbringer, not gonna lie. Dolan may have the better economy, and he's double expanding, taking a 4th and a 5th base. These trades, though, they have been brutal. Again, against Shajal Archon, the lack of Widow Mines is really being emphasized here. It's so difficult for Dolan to actually take good trades. Nice EMP on at least 1 Archon. Here come reinforcements though, and yeah, this time we should be able to clean this up. The Zealots are going down. The Archon out of shields. And it looks like Dolan has done it. GG gets called. Dolan taking game number 1. Whew, GG. Some of those fights were looking a little bit terrifying. Not gonna lie. Some of them were a little bit concerning. But all in all, Dolan does take it in the end. He does take a 1-0 lead in this series. But that is merely a lead. It's still a best of 3. And this could still go either direction. Could still go either way. Whew. As Dolan does take the first game. But now we're going to be getting ready for game number 2. An opportunity here for Ashbringer to fight back, to bounce back, and force the ace match. Catching up in the chat. And a big shout out to SE2 full. Senor Jaime. Mr. Jamie Sausage, welcome. Hope you had a good stream. Hope you had a good ladder session. Welcome everyone to the Open European Server Qualifier for IEM Katowice 2024. Welcome. Hope you're all enjoying yourselves, and we're here in our first series, our first of many. Again, it's a very big bracket. Plenty of games are going to be had, and we will do our best to bring you as much of it as we can. Catching up. It's big, it's huge. It's what she said. Oh, you're an animal. You're an animal, Papi. As we're getting ready for that second game, we're going to be loading into Alkione. Let's go. One moment here. I just realized I don't have the clock working. Un momento. There we go. This morning, in the bottom left-hand corner of Alkione, we have the Teal Protoss player, the Teal Protoss representing Team StarCom, down in this series, hoping to fight back, looking to fight back. It is Ashbringer. And this morning, in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the American Terran player representing the CranKy Ducklings. He's one of our own. He is Dolan. And we have an SCV that went the long way around. We are looking for an eBay block here at the natural. Dolan being a little bit cheeky here, being quite annoying as the SCV has arrived. The eBay is thrown down. This is a very common practice in Terran versus Protoss, and this forces the Protoss player to expand elsewhere. We should not be finishing the eBay. We're going to be pulling out just before it finishes. So we'll see if the pull-out game of Dolan is on point. And again, this is going to be forcing either the triangular third or the linear third base to be taken instead from Ashbringer. And that will be exposing himself. That will give Dolan the opportunity to get into a double gas opener, into a faster factory, and try to punish the exposed bases of his opponent. And oh my god, that was 99% complete here as Dolan does end up pulling out. And as a result, we do have a Zealot on the way. It looks like Ashbringer, he wants to try to DPS this down. It looks like Ashbringer is going for a delayed expansion. Meanwhile, across the map, SCV will fall. Nice pick up here from Ashbringer, and yeah, it's gonna take a while for this Zealot to DPS through this eBay, but it looks like Ashbringer, he refuses to expand elsewhere. It will take quite some time for him to actually take his natural base, but again, that is the route that Ashbringer has chosen. On the flip side here, it's gonna be on Dolan to force a cancel. To cancel just before he loses his eBay, making sure he gets the refund, making sure he gets his resources back. Behind this, getting into a 2x follow-up. Interesting. Up! As we do cancel in time. Oh my god. We do cancel in time. And there it is, Ashbringer going for a delayed expansion, going for his tech first. He took his double gases. He's going into a Stargate opener. Interesting. Now this can lead into Phoenixes or Oracles, one or the other. Phoenixes, of course, they grant you map control, but if Ashbringer, if he feels pressured to come back into this economically, an Oracle could be on the horizon instead. Meanwhile, we should be moving out soon as well. We were forced to make a Zealot and this first Adept early on. We should be trying to get some value here, gain some value for Ashbringer. CC is going to be on location. We're going for a 3-Rax follow-up, actually. Oh my god. Okay. Do have my attention. 3 Raxes are upon us. Adept's going to be threatening Shades. And there it is. We have the Oracle first, not the Phoenix. Sorry, I'm just tweeting. Just tweeting. We have gone live. But there we go. The first Oracle zooming across the map. It's going to be a single Oracle into Phoenixes for Ashbringer. He's not doubling down and investing into a second Oracle, but regardless, he's looking for some economic damage. We do have a couple of Marines in position, but only 3 Marines. The rest are looking for any kind of stray Adept or hidden pylon. Looking for some damage as the Oracle does dive into the main. The Marines, though, they are amassing. They're ready for this. Oh, and we do not get an SCV. Forced to throw down that Revelation. We get eyes on the 3-Rax. Big scout here from Ashbringer, but he doesn't kill any workers. Not ideal. But at least he's aware that a hefty Marine army is coming his way. Now, when it comes to a 3-Rax, this is usually a timing with Stim, and this is ideal against a Stargate opener. We're going for a safety Void Ray. Makes sense. We only made 1 Phoenix. Okay, so I'm pretty sure initially we did want to invest into additional Phoenixes, but specifically against a 3-Rax, Phoenix production can kill you. So we're going into a safety Void Ray, going into a transition towards a Twilight Council. Additional gateways should be Charge or Blink on the way. Blink would make the most sense, but we're going into Charge. I was going to say Blink would make sense to shut down drop play, especially if we are not investing into any more Phoenixes, but we're going for Charge instead. Ooh, big Stasis Trap is thrown down. We could see a juicy connection here. Dolan has to be very careful with how he engages. He is aware of the Oracle. I'm sure he's aware of the potential for a stasis trap. He is going to be moving forward with one Marine first just to tank that shot. So nice, kind of nice foresight here from Dolan. He does come across the probe, goes for the scan, sees the army. There's a shield battery overcharged, plenty of charge lots. They are slow though, they do not have charge, but Dolan, he's going to respect it, he's going to back off. Wise choice here from Dolan. Meanwhile, we have a proxy gateway across the map so we can reinforce, we can harass. And the game is going to be progressing from here. The game will be progressing. Ashbringer going for an Oracle Scout across the map once again, just to get a read on whether or not there's a third TC. We can see that for now we're still on 2-base play. Getting into our 3-1-1 setup. Medevac production has commenced. Marauders are going to be joining the fray as well. This army is looking pretty terrifying, actually. that's a lot of DPS. Charge just now finishing. Ashbringer working on his third base. The Oracle does come in. That means it's not at home to defend. We go for the scanner. We're looking for the cancel. Yeah, we don't waste the stim either. Get a cancel on the third base, get a kill on the pylon, getting a couple of workers as well. Other probes. Oh, we do pull back, thankfully. And again, Dolan being so mature here, just holding on to that stim, doesn't want to waste it. Again, because he doesn't have any medevacs, every stim does hurt his army. He does pull back. Meanwhile, Ashbringer investing into another Void Ray. You don't really get to see Void Rays in this matchup too often, but it makes sense just if we're trying to be safe, if we're trying to survive. Just whatever DPS you can muster. Does make sense for Ashbringer. Dolan rocks up once again. He's looking for that cancel, does scan the army. Still a lot of Zealots though. We're going in! We go for the stim, we dive on the army. The Zealots, they're being mowed down. The pylon as well, there's a second pylon behind it. But there may just be too much man with gun, too many Marines. Again, good kiting from Dolan. The stasis trap! Oh my god. And he's kiting back towards it. Zealot's gonna be going down, and now we can dive on the army. Oh no! We could try to dive on the army, but the stasis trap does finally pop off. And Ashbringer, he is surviving for now, but he did lose so much of his army. And here come the reinforcements. Reinforcements from both players. Looks like Ashbringer gets another couple of warp-ins. He's holding. He's surviving. Getting up to 8 Zealots. But now we have Widow Mines. And these Widow Mine shots, they could either make or break a fight here for Dolan. And we're pushing on forward. The mines, they are burrowing. Two of them initially. Overcharge does not quite connect. It does get focused down. Good mine shots on those Zealots. It looks like Dolan is going to be forced back. He has to respect those Void Rays. Let's activate their prismatic alignment. But Dolan, he is not slowing down. This is, okay, he's not 2-base all in. We have a third CC behind this. Going for the scan. He confirms that there is no expansion. He checks the goal base, checking a hidden base as well. Like, there's no pressure on Dolan. He's ahead economically once again. Something you don't see too often in this matchup. For the Terran player to be up a base against the Protoss is insane. It's something that should not be happening. And Ashbringer, he's up against the wall. Base is being taken. Ashbringer going to be rotating around. He's going the long way around the map, so he is not being scouted. There is a Marine. Oh, and Dolan, he does spot the Zealots. And the rest of the army. And base trade? Oh, there's nothing at home. We could have gone for the base trade, which would have made things a little bit chaotic, but instead we're rushing back home. Dolan, he's confident. He knows that, hey, he's up a base. All he has to do is survive. But he's not in position. He needs a little bit more time. The mines, they're going to be burrowing. The mine shots. Big connections on the Zealots. Massive connections, and with that, what is there left here? The Void Rays do activate their prismatic alignment. They are forcing back the army. It is quite stimmed, quite overstimmed. The boys are being pulled. Once again, mine shot's going to be going off. We're getting on top of the Void Rays, and it looks like Dolan has too much. He shuts down the army. Only Void Rays do remain, and that's not enough. GG gets called, and Dolan does take the series 2-0, advancing on to the next round. GG. GG, well played. Dolan in the driver's seat for this entire series, essentially. Oh, and he does end up taking it here in the end. My condolences to Ashbringer. Again, he just had a really awkward time early on, like, especially here in this game where he had to have like a delayed expansion up against the 3 racks. He was forced to cancel his third and could never actually take his third either. Couldn't quite take it. Ashbringer kind of forced into a 2-base all-in, an all-in that he didn't quite want to commit to. And yeah, with that, congratulations, Dolan will advance on into the next round, and we can take a moment here to try to figure out where we want to go. Where we headed, Bob? Where are we headed? Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the bracket yourselves.